Hello, my name is Thomas, and I'm going to talk to you about what a parakeet is. These two parakeets, Frodo and Sam, I've had them for a little over a year. The one on the swing right here is Frodo, and he's a male. And I can tell that he's a male because his nose, or what counts as his nose, is a bluish color. And the one right here is Samwise. And I named both of them after Frodo and Sam from the Lord of the Rings. Basically, their real name is called Budgies, Budgies, which is what the natives of Australia called them, which means something along the lines of good to eat. And people have been keeping them as pets since the early 1800s, when the first Europeans started colonizing Australia. And the original color variations are greens and yellows, but in captivity you can also find them as Latinos, which means yellow, albinos, which are white, and whites and blues, and mixes of each individual color variation. I'm not sure what exactly how to pronounce the scientific name for a budgie, but translated into English, it's basically you're basically calling them a broad-tailed parrot with wavy lines, because if you look at the backs and wings, you'll notice that they have wavy patterns on their feathers. And there's two main types of captive parakeets. The first one is the American parakeet, which is the most widely known, and the second one is the English budgie, which was bred in England, obviously. And the first one, the American budgie parakeet, is any budgie that's not an English budgie. And it's impossible to find an English budgie living naturally out in the wild because they're mutations of the original ones. And going back to why the natives of Australia called them good to eat in their language, their name is Budgies, however it's pronounced, which is the original word for good eating, or whatever the translation is. And the Australian Aborigines would call the parakeets this because they would raid the parakeets' nesting grounds to eat the eggs and parakeets themselves as food. Kind of the way, almost like the way Europeans would eat a chicken. Parakeets in captivity can live up to 15 years, but you should consider them elderly once they've reached 10 years old. And I got both of these, Frodo and Sam, from a pet code the next town over. And Frodo, like I said, is a male because, in which I can tell he is because, A, he's the louder of the two, when males usually are, and when he first got his adult molt, what acts his nails or the skin around his nose turns blue, yet with Sam here, her nose stayed a kind of a tannish, pinkish brown color, which basically all beige chicks, budgie chicks' noses are when they're first born, but it's the male whose nose turns blue after they get the first adult molt. And these two have, and that's about it. Thank you. Bye.